selling baby body parts, even getting bonuses for certain baby body parts. That's what Holly O'Donnell, a former employee of this STEM company, is talking about. Oh my goodness, here's the details. Be sure to subscribe and press alert to get new notifications of new success secrets made available on VFN TV.
We're going to be talking about David Daleiden with Center for Medical Progress. You remember this amazing man who just did an expose, video upon video upon video being released about these abortions that were taking place in Planned Parenthood and the selling of fetal tissue, of body parts. Well, he fell under great persecution, lawsuits, but let me tell you, God is so good. David Daleiden is still at work, still producing these amazing videos that shed light on this atrocity. Listen, since 1973, Roe versus Wade, Supreme Court decision, legalized the killing, the murdering of babies. And since then, a generation has passed, but we've lost 50 million plus babies. Murdered, gone. And this is an atrocity that has to stop, and we are appealing to heaven that this ends and that the Supreme Court of Heaven will intervene and that this will change. Well, folks like David Daleiden and Center for Medical Progress and you, believers everywhere, are praying for this and exposing what is happening. Well, David shares with us an amazing interview. We're going to bring it to you today with the former procurement technician, Holly O'Donnell, as she begins to shed light and talk about what really was happening behind the scenes with StemExpress and their arrangement with Planned Parenthood. Would you believe this? There were bonuses being paid, bonuses, and different baby body parts had more weight than the other. In terms, they were getting paid a commission, a bonus if they were able to secure a brain, or a certain amount for a blood withdrawal, or a certain amount for just tissue. This is God's creation being butchered apart and then being sold. Listen, you want to stay tuned for this entire program because you're going to be made aware of what was really happening and how this thing is being exposed and being dismantled. But right now, I want to take you straight to Holly O'Donnell's first day. And this talks about the arrangement about StemExpress and what the agreement they had with Planned Parenthood in California and how this unveiled. I mean, it was her first day, and she explains what happened. Watch this.
An interview with a woman who used to work for a company that bought fetal tissues from Planned Parenthood.
The harder and the more valuable the tissue, the more money you get. I thought I was going to be just drawing blood, not procuring tissue from aborted fetuses.
The new video also contains the testimonial of a woman who says she was hired by StemExpress to work inside a Planned Parenthood clinic procuring fetal body parts.
They partner with Planned Parenthood and they get part of the money. They get paid from it. They do get some kind of benefit.
Oh, well, we were just doing donations. We never made any profit off of it. Planned Parenthood and Cecile Richards on the partnership with StemExpress.
Well, you got to consider, why are biotech companies like StemExpress hiring people? Where are they getting their money?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because, they're not going to just hire me if they're getting donated organs and tissues from Planned Parenthood. There has to be money coming in. There has to be profit coming in.
She wasn't told before she arrived on site what she would be doing and fainted on her very first day.
If you could impart one message to viewers who have watched these videos, what's the one thing that you want them to walk away with?
The videos are true, and I wouldn't be putting myself out and speaking if they weren't true. This is my testimony. The people will decide.
So I went, she told me to meet at the Concord Clinic around like 6 or 7.
For your first day at StemExpress, you're going to be drawing blood. Come to the Planned Parenthood in Concord, California at like 6 o'clock.
They didn't say I was going to be drawing blood. They didn't tell me anything.
Oh, they just said
show up.
First day of work, just be
show
there.
Up.
Okay.
So I pull in the parking lot, no one's there, and Clarissa pulls up and she takes out we have little StemExpress rolly bags where you put the supplies. So she pulls that out, and there's, one nurse lets us in, and everything seemed normal. It's just like a little medical center. There's the lab, and then they have a little tiny path lab. I see out of the corner of my eye.
And what's a path lab? By the way?
Path lab is where they...
It's short for pathology laboratory, right?
Where they have, they bring the POC, which is the product of conception after the abortion procedure is done.
Right.
What they do is they have the jars, or they have the clear pie dishes where they have to make sure that all limbs and the head are within the POC to make sure that the woman doesn't get sick.
Right.
Because it can potentially really harm.
If a body part was left inside the patient
yes,
after
that
the
can
abortion,
make it very
they didn't get
sick.
all of it out.
So the doctor has to okay it. Clarissa took me. She's like, "Holly, okay, come over here," and
So she hasn't told you anything. She's giving you no instructions yet of what's going to happen this day.
I just followed her, and she took me into the path lab, and she starts putting gloves on, and I'm a little bit shocked because I just see a pie dish with all this blood in it. I'm trying to stay calm because I don't know what was going on.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to act weird. It was my first day, and I didn't want to lose a new job, so I just tried to be really relaxed. And she put the gloves on, and she took the instrument, the tweezers, and she starts going and fishing around.
Fishing around in the pie dish.
In the pie dish, and she's trying to show me parts. And I think I was in such a state of shock and trying to relax at the same time. It didn't really feel real.
Yeah.
And she's showing me parts of, this is a leg, this is an arm. And then she says, put some gloves on. So I put the gloves on. She hands me the tweezers. She goes, oh, can you show me some of the parts that I just showed you? I said, yeah. And I put the tweezers in. And I put on one of the limbs. And I've never felt this in my life. I felt the pain radiate through my hand. You can feel the death go up through, something was just alive. And I grabbed it and I felt that. I started to get woozy. And I said, and I stopped and she's like, are you okay? And next thing I know, I woke up in the recovery room. I had blacked out and one of the nurses was there and she's like, oh, you're awake now? You okay? I said, what happened? She said, you passed out when you saw the POC, the remains. I said, oh, I'm so embarrassed. She said, oh, don't worry. Honestly, some of us never get over it.
Honestly, some of us never get over it. Think about this. Your first day at work, and they're showing you fetal tissue, and they're training you, pointing out different baby body parts so that you can be able to identify these when you're in this position. This is sick. This is an atrocity before the Lord. I mean, this is horrible. When we get back from this break, we're going to go straight into seeing this connection, how StemExpress coordinated these efforts with Planned Parenthood. Not only that, but you're going to find out that HIPAA laws were violated. They were given access to patients' records, essentially doing the job of allegedly of Planned Parenthood employees. They had full access, full reign. You're not going to want to miss this. Join us when we get right back from this break. And if you're just joining us, we're talking about David Daleiden and his organization, the Center for Medical Progress. And you may be familiar with him. We've covered him quite extensively on VFN TV, but David is the one that did these underground breakthrough videos that really showed what was happening behind the scenes when it comes to the folks working at Planned Parenthood and how they were just making money off of abortions. And this expose went everywhere. And I'm so grateful for David. I'm grateful for Center for Medical Progress for showing us the reality of what was taking place. But I'm also grateful for Holly O'Donnell. She is a former StemExpress procurement technician, and she begins as one who actually did this, worked for the company, knew what was going on, the ins and the outs. She begins to share with David her experiences. So we have more to share with you in this program, but this is what she says. She says she worked inside of some of the biggest Planned Parenthood surgical centers, Steve, in Northern California, drawing blood and dissecting organs from aborted fetuses, which the company then sold to research customers all across the country. So they would pay Planned Parenthood So, you know, a woman's coming in, a young lady's coming in for an abortion, and they're trying to salvage baby body parts from an aborted, killed baby, and then exchanging money for these body parts.
Individual organs of the baby.
And then shipping them all across the country and the world.
And I think what's so just, I really can't even just begin to just try to find the right words. All I can say is just deceptive and just wrong. But how deceiving it is to hear the word specimen or item of procurement, and it's just like baby body parts.
Yeah, you have to say what it is.
You have to say what it is, because so often you can just say specimen, 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 and not really realize what it is you're talking about. And it's just like baby's heart, baby's arm, baby's leg, and it's just, when you look at these undercover works, I just commend David Daleiden for doing this and staying faithful and continuing to put this out before the public eye and say, this is happening.
Yeah.
We have to look at this and acknowledge it.
Well, as a result, I believe, of his investigative reporting, I mean, Congress is getting involved. There's criminal charges, I think, that are coming
Investigations.
up. All sorts of investigations, and this should be exposed. This thing needs to come, you know, into the court of law, because it's illegal to sell body parts. It's illegal. It's illegal to share HIPAA private patients' records with anybody that's not, you know, licensed and working in that medical practice. That stuff is illegal. Reportedly, allegedly, these things were taking place. But what we want to do right now is show you the StemExpress Planned Parenthood coordination and how they work together to pull this off. Watch this.
One such company in this up-and-coming market is StemExpress, a company that buys fetal tissue from Planned Parenthood.
We were approached by StemExpress to do the same thing. One of the Northern California affiliates said, we're working with this people, we love it, we think every affiliate should work with them.
Oh yeah, I like them. We know all the people at PPFA pretty well.
CEO Kate Dyer started StemExpress in 2010 with just $9,000. Billing itself as the largest provider of maternal blood and fetal tissue globally, it's grown by leaps and bounds, taking in $2.2 million in revenue in 2013.
I mean, Planned Parenthood has volume.
Right.
You know, because they're a volume institution.
Right.
They partner with Planned Parenthood and they get part of the money. They get paid from it. They do get some kind of benefit.
At the beginning of the day, we would let them know what we were looking for. You know, oh, we need this gestation for blood sample. We need this for thymus.
So there was coordination between StemExpress and Planned Parenthood to make sure that those orders were being filled.
There was a lot of coordination.
There was a lot of coordination.
A lot of coordination.
Wow.
We would turn on Messenger on our laptops. We'd go to one of the medical rooms and we would open up the task page, which it shows you what the researchers want, how many specimens that they want for that day or that week. And if you were able to get that specimen, you would edit the task page and put how many you had and put your initials. So if it said that we needed a liver with at least 15 weeks gestation, and Jessica was Alameda or Sarah was somewhere and they got it before me, they would edit it. So that way I would come and I'd kind of check the task page to make sure we didn't get double. Roughly saying it was like a grocery list of what to get for that day.
Really?
Yeah. And we'd open the task page, see what we needed. We'd go to the head nurse, let the nurses know, hey, this is what I'm looking for today. They'd give you a sheet of the appointments, which women were coming in, and it would tell you how many patients, what time they were coming in, their name, and if they knew how far along they were. Like if I got a sheet, it would be like this, and it would be clear, down, across. I would take a highlighter, I'd look on the task page, okay, I need this today. You know, let's say, okay, well, today I need to get this many blood samples, and I need this many gestation. Okay, so, well, it's 8 o'clock now, 9 o'clock, she's coming in, she's 12 weeks. Highlight it. Okay, I need to keep track of her. Go down. Okay, well, at 11 o'clock, we got a 15-week. I need a liver. Highlight her. So that way I could prioritize my day and know who to talk to. Then I would go and tell the head nurse, okay, so I looked on the task page, this is what I need for today. Can you let your staff know? Oh yeah, we'll let them know. So throughout the day, sometimes a medical assistant would come over and be like, hey Holly, you said you needed, women that are at least gestated 10 weeks. I'm like, oh yeah, well there's one in the room right now if you want to consent her. I'm like, okay, thank you. So it was really just communication. You just really had to communicate. If you didn't communicate, like you were gonna miss your specimens, it was not gonna work.
What about, so I saw in some of the emails, I was looking back over some of the emails from Sarah and from Jessica and just some of the StemExpress emails that you've provided before. And there was comments in there multiple times where Sarah, the procurement manager, was instructing you guys, make sure that you log on to the computers in the clinic and make sure you get the correct patient schedule and access from the other clinics as well to see what's going on there. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I've seen Jessica and Sarah log in to the computers at the clinic. Mm-hmm. They would even let us look at the charts.
They would let you guys?
They'd let us look at the physical charts outside the room. I was even asked to write on the charts at one point.
You were asked to write on the patient chart?
In the patient chart.
Wow.
Which is also, I actually told I believe it was Jessica, and I told her, I said, no, I won't do that. Mm-hmm. And she said, well, it's part of your job. I said, no, it's not part of my job. That's out of my scope of practice. I could lose my license because of it.
Incentivizing murder. And this is what you're looking at. This is a business that is profiting. Started out with a $9,000 investment. In 2013, made $2.2 million. And it looks like Planned Parenthood, if you understand business, is the lead source. You have women that are coming in that are pregnant, that are having an abortion. And on the other hand, you have StemExpress working inside of Planned Parenthood with the lead source, because they have people coming in, and they have a task. They have a grocery list of things that they need, which is body parts, tissues, blood, to extract from this abortion. So there was a coordination. If I have this list of things to get, then who's coming in today? How many weeks are they pregnant? What's going on here? So that we can have great coordination, so I can extract what we need, specimens, quote unquote, to reach our fulfillment and our quota from the day. And O'Donnell says, this is what she says. She says, we'd go to the head nurse and let the nurses know, hey, this is what I'm looking for today. This is what I'm looking for. I need a couple of hearts. I need some brain. And they'd give you a sheet of the appointments, which women were coming in, and they would tell you how many patients, what time they were coming in, their name, and how far along were they. Think about this. How many of these women or young ladies knew that there was somebody on the other end once this abortion was taking place that was dismantling this baby, and they were selling parts of their baby off? Could you imagine?
And all the while, how many times have we heard that young ladies are being told it's not anything, it's just
oh, it's not a baby there.
It's just a blob. It's
not a baby.
It's not a living thing. And now these women
but they're profiting.
Right. And these women who are, unbeknownst to them, are just in a state of shock of just like, do I need to go through with this? What do I need to do? Many of them feel it's just like, can I reach out to someone? And they don't know what they're doing. And then, or maybe some do. I don't know.
They could be having second thoughts, but it appears that's not the place to have second thoughts, because
they're
after what's on the inside of you.
Right. It appears they know exactly what the purpose is for this, so that they can profit out of that, and that's just complete deception.
Well, let's go to image 4041, because what you're looking here is a copy of an email. I mean, this email is saying, listen, Friday reports for the next week's schedules. It's critical. It's critical for scheduling of the coming week, and they're letting them know, hey, please provide this. They're having all this coordination and make sure that you have all the updates and all the things that are necessary. Go to 4042 and you'll see that there's HIPAA violations. In particular, the panel's investigation has uncovered information indicating that StemExpress and Planned Parenthood, Marmonte, basically committed systematic violations of the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. That's HIPAA Act. These violations occurred when the abortion clinics disclosed patients' individually identifiable health information to StemExpress to facilitate their efforts to procure human fetal tissue for resale. They violated these patients when they came in. This is horrific. There should be a public outrage. And yes, it's okay to be upset. I mean, we're upset. You're looking at this and you're saying, how did this happen? And how is it that my tax monies are going to fund this type of stuff that's happening? This is ridiculous. I want you to go straight to 4048, because what we're going to show you here is StemExpress payments that are going to Planned Parenthood, and Holly O'Donnell actually goes and explains to this more. We're actually going to show this to you when we get back from the break, because StemExpress, their coordination with Planned Parenthood, the selling of body parts, the violation of HIPAA laws, an investigation, this is an atrocity. Listen, since 1973, Roe versus Wade, Supreme Court decision, a bad Supreme Court decision, legalized the murder of babies. We call it in America abortion. And then you have people that say, well, it's not really a baby and it's just a tissue and so it's okay. But apparently, we have always known that you know, there was life there. But this kind of proves it, doesn't it? When they're willing to, you know, want to get those baby body parts and pay money for them, when they're looking at a lead source like Planned Parenthood and saying, what do you have coming in? Because we got to coordinate and we have to see, because we have a task. Holly O'Donnell called it a grocery list of things that they had to get, body parts from an aborted baby that day. Well, listen, we're going to go and show you how this money was taking place, what happened here, as Holly O'Donnell begins to express and share more. Even the relationship with some of these doctors, that they would go fast and furious, that there was all about a production, a quota. Watch this.
Dr. Deborah Nucatola, Planned Parenthood's Director of Medical Services.
A Planned Parenthood doctor discusses getting money for tissue from aborted fetuses. In a statement, Planned Parenthood says there is no financial benefit for tissue donation. In some instances, actual costs, such as the cost to transport tissue to leading research centers, are reimbursed.
There are shipping costs, there can be handling costs.
Planned Parenthood never shipped anything. We did all the shipping. I think that some of the staff at some of these clinics knew exactly what was going on, that they were getting compensated.
But StemExpress, which is one of the companies you work with, they have a brochure where it talks about the financial profits, the financial benefits.
StemExpress is a for-profit company.
I just heard we need the money. We need to let her.
A price per tissue payment. That informs me that we're talking about the sale of a part and not some reasonable cost.
We, as procurement technicians, got our bonuses based on organ.
Did you ever see Planned Parenthood transport fetal tissue or ship fetal tissue anywhere other than carrying it from the operating room to the path lab where you guys were waiting for it?
I never did. They made us do the dirty work. Mm-hmm. I think even some of the medical assistants, they didn't like doing path lab. Mm-hmm. They wanted StemExpress staff to deal with all the path lab. Some of the staff that worked at Planned Parenthood, I had one medical assistant that knew that I needed certain things, and she would quickly just get rid of it. I know she was throwing the specimens away because I kept telling her over and over again. This happened for not very long time, maybe like a week or so. I told her, I'm like, hey, you know, I keep telling you I need this kind of specimen, and you're throwing them out. So I went to the head nurse.
So she was refusing to coordinate with you.
She was refusing, and now I kind of don't blame her.
Right.
But I went to the head nurse at the clinic and I said, hey, I keep telling this medical assistant I need this, and I think she's throwing my stuff away on purpose. And she got really upset. And she called the medical assistant back there, and now I'm looking back at it, I think that some of the staff at some of these clinics knew exactly what was going on, that they were getting compensated by, you know, the tissues.
That StemExpress was
exactly
paying them for the fetal tissue.
Exactly. So I'm pretty sure that's what was going on, and that's why she got so upset. Like, hey, we need this money. You know, we're losing money here. You need to let them get the samples. We're getting paid for this.
Do you remember what that clinic manager said to the medical assistant? Or?
I just heard, we need the money. You need to let her. That's what I heard. I asked about, you know, the financial situation, and Jessica didn't want to let me know that either. And that was around the time that they started taking me off the schedule and putting Jessica at Stockton.
So you think they knew? They knew.
Oh, of course they did. You spoke to Sarah, right? About, you asked her about it, and she was closed.
Sarah knew. Sarah was the first one who told me. Sarah Houston, the former procurement manager, was the first one who told me that they were actually paying the clinics per specimen. They weren't renting space. They weren't reimbursing the cost of how many paper towels it costs to clean up the path lab or something at the end of the day. They were paying per the number of fetal specimens they could get. And that's, you know, one of the things that one piece of evidence that I wanted so badly when I was doing the undercover work is I really wanted to get like the actual original contract that StemExpress had signed with Planned Parenthood Marmonte. Finally, because of the congressional investigations, the original StemExpress contracts with Planned Parenthood actually got released and came to light. And it defines the POC, a product of conception, in the contract as any fetal organ. And then Planned Parenthood will invoice StemExpress every month based on the number of harvestable POCs that have been obtained at the Planned Parenthood clinics in that month. You know, in that contract, it looks like, based on the language, that POC means individual fetal organ, and that means Planned Parenthood was getting paid for every individual body part that StemExpress was harvesting. Other people and StemExpress lawyers have tried to say, oh no, you know, we promise it was only, you know, per abortion. So that makes it a little bit better, maybe not totally better, but did you ever get any sense of how that compensation was structured, or what?
I don't believe that was true, because we, as procurement technicians, got our bonuses based on organ, not per abortion.
The bonuses that the techs were paid was based on the organ, on per individual body part, not based on the entire abortion.
Yes. Yep. Based on body part, blood sample, not just one abortion.
So at a big Planned Parenthood clinic like the Alameda in San Jose or B Street in Sacramento, on a day that StemExpress was there, did you guys basically handle everything in the path lab? And so after every abortion, you guys were the ones rinsing the POC out, doing the check to make sure the arms, legs, cal, and spinal cord were there, show the doctor?
80–90% of the time.
Wow. So you were doing work that a Planned Parenthood medical assistant would normally do?
Yes.
So you were doing some of their work for them, and then you were harvesting the body parts that you needed, and then StemExpress would pay Planned Parenthood for those body parts they'd harvested.
Yep. Like I was trying to say, there's the shipping, but Planned Parenthood never shipped anything. We did all the shipping.
StemExpress was paying, according to David Daleiden, allegedly, but you heard him, was paying Planned Parenthood per fetal tissue organ that they were procuring. This is not good. You look at this and they're openly, she's telling you, I've got bonuses, I've got paid off of this. And according to what David Daleiden writes, he says Planned Parenthood Marmonte and Planned Parenthood Northern California together see approximately 300,000 patients each year, Steve. 300,000.
That's 2 locations of Planned Parenthoods, just 2.
Now imagine all these Planned Parenthoods all across the country, and what type of relationships that they individually have with other companies like StemExpress. And I just keep thinking over and over again, Steve, these women that are going in there to abort, do they even know? Do they know that as they're taking that drive that morning, that they're pulling in, maybe they have some anxiety, maybe they're afraid, you know, maybe they think this is going to solve all my problems. I just got to get rid of this baby, this accident. I've got to stop this. And not knowing on the other side of them driving there, there's another meeting taking place where people are saying, I need to get a grocery list. And yes, this person who's driving in, coming in now, she's going to be here at 10 o'clock. And if we hurry up, we can get the things that we need that we're going to exchange for a dollar amount. How does God feel about this? I mean, this is horrible.
To me, it's just an atrocity, because you look at, I mean, this is the epitome of just manipulation. To look at just completely, just disregard what someone is going through in the app. I mean, how many?
Well, I don't think they're being manipulated, because they know what's happening. They're going in there and they're getting an abortion, you know. But I can feel and I can sense, you know, this is horrible.
It's just overwhelming to think that women are being looked at like this as just a shopping list, to know that there's a baby in their womb that God created them to carry, that gave us life, that they themselves were in their mother's womb at some time, and now they're being looked at just, hey, if I get
dollar signs. The Bible says that you're being knitted in your mother's womb.
Yeah.
And before the knitting process can even take place, this beautiful thing called life that God is developing in the womb, they're already trying to dismantle it and take it apart. Listen, when we get back from this break, we're actually going to show you, you're going to see it for yourself, what these bonuses look like. And this is so important because a lot of this stuff has tried to be denied. Oh, it didn't happen. This is proof. This is someone who actually worked for StemExpress, a former procurement technician, these names that they give themselves, right? And she's actually spilling the beans and saying, no, I actually got paid. I got paid per organ, and there was a commission structure, and if depending on how much volume we quote unquote produce, it determined how much we were going to get paid in a bonus. They were getting paid $10 an hour plus each organ that they got. And she talks about how some of these doctors, one in particular, was known as being fast and furious, and that he wanted to get in, get out, and so they can harvest, basically take apart, rip apart as many parts as possible for sale. You don't want to miss it. Join us when we get right back from this break. David Daleiden, Holly O'Donnell, former procurement technician with StemExpress, and this relationship with Planned Parenthood, where they were incentivizing murder, if you will, with selling of these body parts. And this is crazy. We're going to go straight to David Daleiden again, and as he's interviewing Holly O'Donnell, she breaks down this bonus structure. Watch this.
We wanted more gestated fetuses. It was a lot easier to get these, and we could take more from it. It's incentive for you to do your job better.
The procurement technicians actually had you guys got a special bonus structure?
Oh, definitely.
Based on the number and type of body parts that you could harvest? How did your pay structure work from StemExpress?
You get more money for tissues, like if you got a brain or liver versus like blood sample. There's different tissue categories, okay? There's category A, B, and C. So A is like brain, heart, lungs, liver,
the stuff that's
spleen,
really in high demand,
the really high demand.
Stuff.
We wanted more gestated fetuses. It was a lot easier to get these, and we could take more from it. It's incentive for you to do your job better.
If you're getting paid a bonus based on the number of
so if you really do your job, and you get up to 11, 20 specimens, you're getting $20 per specimen. It's 1 to 10, you're doing just blood, you're getting $10 per one blood draw. That's what you get.
So the compensation of the procurement technicians from StemExpress sounds to me like it was getting increasingly built around how valuable of body parts can they harvest at Planned Parenthood for StemExpress corporate.
Exactly.
Which is exactly, by the way, we both know, and I think most people watching this are going to know, the law is that you're allowed to donate human body parts, but nobody is supposed to be selling and making money off of and commodifying human body parts, whether it's adult, fetal, aborted, car accident, whatever. But you look at the business model of StemExpress, where everything is based around the volume-based acquisition and transfer of aborted human fetal body parts. It looks clearly like it's it looks like it's about maximizing volume, maximizing revenue, maximizing profit off of aborted fetal tissue.
Off of parts.
Off of fetal body parts.
Yep.
Yeah.
The thing that you really learn when you are procuring is you really need to you have to keep contact with everybody. You have to communicate. You have to you know who's in what room at what time. You know how fast the doctors go. We had one doctor named Dr. Berman.
He was a Planned Parenthood Marmonte abortion doctor who was also working as the medical director of StemExpress.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we would get emails. We all had our own personal email, and you know, get emails daily or when you were home. And he was very, very fast. And
he was fast in how he would do the abortions.
He was, quote unquote, I mean, I have the emails to prove it. I have them. There are a couple of times where he has mentioned that today is a Dr. Berman day. You know how he goes fast and vicious. And there are women that would be coming in and they'd be scared and they'd be crying. And, you know, it's really hard because some of these women, they don't want to do it and they're not sure if they want to do it. But some of the workers there are numb to it. They don't understand how hard it is for some of these women. And I wasn't allowed to talk to these women really, because if I got caught doing that, that would be me getting in trouble for my company, because according to Sarah, it's not, like I've said in the videos, it's not an option. It's a demand. That's your job. So you know, women not want to do it. You know, I wanted to tell some of these girls, if you're not sure if you want to do this, just go home and come back. Don't make a rash decision, you know.
What kind of pressure was there from StemExpress leadership for the technicians to maximize the number of samples that you were harvesting?
Maximum pressure.
Maximum pressure?
Yeah. As many as you could get, as quickly as you could. Didn't matter if a girl was throwing up in the garbage can, crying, pushing her over the edge. I remember one time I was working with another technician, Julie, and we had 3 patients pass out on us in a row. And she was actually very sympathetic. She was one of the only people I worked with that I never saw her do anything wrong. I only worked with her like maybe 2-3 times. But they were passing out, and at one point we looked at each other and we said, we're not going to tell Sarah that this person's here, because we don't want to let her know we'll get in trouble, because we're not going to consent this woman. You know, we just kind of agreed, and, you know, to this person's not here. We don't want Sarah to know.
So there were patients that you thought StemExpress might want to procure either blood and or tissue from, and you sort of hid the patients from StemExpress because you didn't.
Yes, I did.
Wow.
Or I would just say they didn't show up.
Clearly the emails indicate and show that there was no regard for the patient. There was obviously no regard for the human life that they were so desperately after the fetal tissue. When you send an email that says, "Go team!" exclamation point, all in caps, and leave nothing on the table, kind of has a double meaning, don't you think? Leave nothing on the table. This is crazy. In fact, I want you to go to 4040, because this is what you're looking at, what is known as a compensation package. This is the incentivization of procuring and getting all of these fetal tissue. If you look all the way towards the left, this is the number of specimens. So if someone's being coached, they're saying, listen, if you get 10 specimens today and they fall in the category A, you're going to get $35 per tissue. That's $350 for you if you can coordinate with Planned Parenthood and the doctor, and you guys can get in there. This is what your compensation looks like. So it's a $10 an hour base pay looks like, and a bonus that outlines how well you can do your job. Listen, this blood cries out to the Lord. It's literally blood money. And this money cries out to God. And God, as you were saying, Steve, you know, in our break, the uncovering of this, isn't it?
The very research of what David Daleiden had done and what is being revealed to us right now, this is an answer to prayer.
Yeah.
And you look at just the gruesomeness of it, but how long has this been going on behind closed doors that people have not even been aware of? But now that we know it, you can't deny it.
No.
And now it's upon us. It's just like, God, like you hear us to say, God, end abortion. This is that. This is that being revealed and being brought to the surface so that, okay, now we have something to do about it.
Listen, God is going to avenge the innocent murder of all of these babies. 50+ million children being aborted since Roe v. Wade in 1973. And I'm grateful for this newly elected president who took a stand in this last debate, the last debate prior to being elected. He said, listen, it's not okay with me. It's not okay with me with body parts being ripped apart. It's not okay. When I personally saw that, I said, listen, that person can get my vote. That person can get my vote. You know, Vice President Mike Pence has always been a pro-life person, a candidate, a congressman, a governor. And so we're seeing a shift, even with the appointment of Neil Gorsuch. It's possible that in this administration, President Trump's going to be able to nominate maybe 2 more Supreme Court justices. And if that's the case, our hope, our prayer, our expectation is that Roe v. Wade will be overturned. 40+ years, over a generation of legalizing and saying it's okay to commit murder on these babies is going to come to an end. Listen, we want to encourage you, as we do every program. We're going to be praying, and we're going to ask you to join with us. Dear God, we thank you for this opportunity, Lord, to be together, to be able to share about what is happening, Lord, with this Planned Parenthood, StemExpress, the profiting, Lord, of your creation. We ask you, as we do every program, dear God, end abortion, end the killing of innocent babies, and send revival, send a third great awakening to this country and this land. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. God bless you. Thank you for watching, and share this program with a friend.
Be sure to subscribe and press alert to get new notifications of new success secrets made available on VFN TV.
You know, a lot of people want to abide with the Lord, but they just don't have a plan to do it. You can request that plan today at iabide.org.
I'm your host, Greg Lancaster, and we're so glad that you've joined us. Don't forget you can join us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Download our app and sign up for our newsletter, The Torch, at vfntv.com. I've enjoyed our time together. God bless.